will begin our last and final chapter, 15, discussing motivation. Motivation refers to the various physiological and psychological factors that cause us to act in a specific way at a particular time. There are three characteristics that demonstrate motivation. One is you are energized to engage in an activity. This energy directs your energies to achieve a specific goal, and you have an intensity of feeling about reaching that goal. For example, engaging in an activity such as getting an education, you direct your energies to achieve the goal of obtaining your education and graduating. Therefore, your feelings about reaching the goal are what keep you motivated to continue on when things get hard. Next, we will look at the four theories on motivation. First, there are instincts that are innate tendencies or biological forces that determine behavior. For instance, fixed action pattern is an innate biological force that predisposes an organism to behave in a fixed way in the presence of a specific environmental condition. The second theory on motivation is the brain, the reward pleasure center. This includes several areas of the brain and involves several neurotransmitters, especially dopamine. Genes have been linked to several behaviors that trigger the brain's reward pleasure center, including obesity, risk-taking, behaviors like gambling, nicotine addiction, and sexual activity. The third theory on motivation is incentives. These are goals that can be either objects or thoughts that we learn to value and that we are motivated to obtain. Incentives have two common features. First, they can be thoughts, and second, they can be objects. The fourth theory on motivation is cognitive factors. This would be intrinsic motivation, which involves engaging in certain activities or behaviors that either reduce biologic needs or help us obtain incentives or external rewards. Intrinsic motivation, however, involves engaging in certain activities or behaviors because the behaviors themselves are personally rewarding, or because engaging in these behaviors fulfills our beliefs or expectations. When we look at human needs, this involves biological needs, physiological requirements that are critical to our survival and physical well-being. However, it also involves social needs. These are needs that are acquired through learning and experience. Furthermore, there are satisfying needs. Maslow's hierarchy of needs is divided down into 5 levels. Maslow believed that these levels involve building on one another. The first level is physiological needs. This would be having a warm place to sleep, having food, and being taken care of. These are your basic physiological needs that you need to thrive. When these needs are met, the second level would be safety needs. That would be having a safe environment where you can be nurtured and grow. The third level would be love and belonging needs. And these are needs that are met within a family and belonging to a group of people where you are loved and accepted. Level 4 is esteem needs. And this is when you are encouraged and you'll have enough confidence in yourself to go out into the world and to experience the world in a way that is satisfying and rewarding, which then propels you to the level 5, which is self-actualization. Maslow believed that if somebody is missing a level of need and it was not met for them, that they will never reach level 5 in self-actualization until they go back and have these other needs met. Have you ever asked yourself, why do humans have sex? Well, the first thing is genetics, genes that determine sex, hormone levels, neural pathways that determine sexual reflexes. The second reason is biology. Sex hormones that determine when we enter puberty determine sexual motivation. Less sex hormones equals smaller sex drive. And the third would be psychological, which determines gender roles, affects performance or enjoyment, and plays a role in sexual orientation and sexual identity. Something to think about is men's primary sexual hormone is testosterone, which triggers the pituitary gland to secrete hormones on a daily basis, resulting in the continuous production of sperm, whereas women do not have significant levels of testosterone, so the absence triggers the pituitary gland to secrete hormones on a cyclic cycle, which is monthly, and women's sex hormone is estrogen. Psychological aspects of motivation are gender roles. These are traditional behaviors, attitudes, and personality traits of each gender. They influence how we think and behave. For example, these are traditional American gender roles. Male gender roles are dominating, controlling, and independent, where female gender roles are sensitive, nurturing, and concerned. Men have an average of 18 sex partners in their lifetime, whereas women have an average of 4 or 5 sex partners in their lifetime. Men also rank attractiveness in a mate overwhelmingly higher than women. Women, on the other hand, rank financial resources twice as high as men do. Theories of gender role are evolutionary theory. This is where men have a greater interest in sex and multiple partners because it's maximized their chances for reproduction. And women have a lesser interest in sex and multiple partners because they value a stable environment to raise their children. Women placed a higher value on finding a good provider and protector. In the biosocial theory, there is emphasis on social and cultural forces to explain the differences in sexual activities and mate selection. Sexual orientation is a sexual preference. There are heterosexual, homosexual, and bisexual, and 5 to 10% of homosexual are in the general population. Studies in the last 15 years show a strong genetic component. Twin studies show that if one identical twin is a homosexual, then there is an approximately 50% chance that the other twin is gay. Because it is not a 100% chance, this indicates some environmental factors at play too. If one fraternal twin is a homosexual, then there is an approximately 20% chance that the other will be. In a study of 900 men, the one consistent characteristic gay men shared is having several older, biological related brothers. Another showed that homosexuals and heterosexuals' hypothalamus respond differently to gender-specific odors. There are physiological factors that affect orientation. Children who cross gender lines are more likely to become homosexuals, but not 100% of the time. Gender identity disorder, transsexuals, are people who have a strong belief that they were born the wrong gender. They choose to live as the opposite gender. A smaller number choose to have sexual reassignment surgery. Doctors don't know the root cause because there are no genetic or biological differences between transsexuals and those who are not, but recent research points to a genetic predisposition to develop one way or the other.